So, what if the secret to achieving truly great things wasn't about the talent you're born with, but about the character you build along the way?
Dear book lovers, what if you could finish an entire book in just minutes? Welcome to another insight-packed book summary from Summerpedia. We are here to bring you more titles in less time.
Today, we are diving deep into the powerful and honestly super practical lessons from Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. Now, if you've ever felt underestimated or like your best self is just out of reach, this one's for you. Seriously, whether you're a student, a professional, an artist, or an athlete, this is for anyone who wants to get better at getting better. Okay, so Adam Grant kicks things off by just completely tackling this huge myth in our culture, our obsession with natural talent. We love the idea of the prodigy, the person who's just born with it. But Grant says this fixation actually blinds us to where greatness really comes from. This quote really gets to the heart of it. What Grant's saying is that what we call a language gene or a math brain, well, it's often more about the systems, the chances, and the drive that people have. The most successful people, they're not always the ones who start out the strongest. They're the ones who travel the farthest. And to prove this point, he tells this absolutely incredible story about a group called the Raging Rooks. Now picture this. It's a chess team from an inner-city school. No star players, and they're going up against these elite, super well-funded private schools like Dalton, the kind of place that was literally the inspiration for the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer. They were the ultimate underdogs. And the pressure on them, it was just immense. See, at the national championship, the big teams like Dalton, they could drop their worst scores. It was like an insurance policy. But the Raging Rooks? Nope. They were on a tightrope. They had just enough players to even compete, which meant every single game, every single point was absolutely critical. Zero room for error. And against all odds, they did it. Thanks to this stunning last-minute upset by their player Kassan Henry against Dalton's top player, the Raging Rooks tied for first place in the entire nation. It was a victory nobody saw coming. So how in the world did they pull it off? Well, the answer comes down to this really cool concept called scaffolding. Think about it. In construction, scaffolding helps workers reach new heights they couldn't get to on their own, right? That's exactly what their coach, Maurice Ashley, did. He built these temporary structures around them. He gave them the opportunity, the motivation, the belief they needed to grow. He proved it's not about having prodigies. It's about building systems that create them. So if it's not all about innate talent, what is it about? Grant says the real engine of our growth is what he calls character skills. Get this, in one study, when they trained startup founders in character skills like being proactive and disciplined, their profits grew almost 3 times more than when they were trained in traditional cognitive skills like finance. So what are these magical skills? The first character skill is learning to be a creature of discomfort. Real growth doesn't happen when we feel confident and comfortable. It happens when we feel awkward and clumsy. We actually need to intentionally chase that feeling. Improv comedians know this better than anyone. They see discomfort as a sign that the exercise is working. That's what fuels breakthroughs. And just look at the difference here. Waiting until you feel ready often means you never start, and your progress is going to be tiny. But embracing the messiness of starting today, even when you feel totally unprepared, that's what puts you on the real path to growth. Okay, the second skill, become a human sponge. This is all about your absorptive capacity. Basically, your ability to recognize new information and actually use it. But here's the key. It's not just about soaking everything up. A real sponge also has to filter things out. The trick is to filter information for growth, not just to protect your own ego. So how do you filter? Grant gives us this fantastic framework. The feedback you should truly mine for gold comes from people who are right in the middle of these 3 circles. First, they have credibility. They actually know what they're talking about. Second, they care. They genuinely want what's best for you. And third, they have familiarity. They know you well enough to make their advice really stick. This is how you turn random critics and cheerleaders into true coaches. And the third skill is probably my favorite. Become an imperfectionist. Now, this doesn't mean being sloppy. It means escaping the trap of perfectionism, which, let's be honest, usually just leads to procrastination and burnout. It's about focusing on making progress, not on being flawless, and realizing that our best moments are what define our potential, not our worst ones. So, to really get the power of imperfection, let me ask you a question. Can a flaw, something that is by definition not perfect, actually be a design's greatest strength? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. This is the famous Church of Light by the architect Tadao Ando. What you're looking at is a cross made of pure sunlight. So how did he do it? He intentionally left gaps, a flaw, in the massive concrete wall. What most people would see as an error became the one feature that makes this space absolutely breathtaking. It's a perfect symbol for how embracing imperfection can lead to something truly beautiful. Okay, so you're building your character skills, but you still hit a wall. You feel stuck. We've all been there. Grant introduces this really powerful, counterintuitive idea. Sometimes, to move forward, you actually have to go backward first. We love to imagine progress as this clean, perfectly straight, upward-sloping line, but that's a total myth. The reality is messy. It's got dips, it's got detours, and it has moments where you feel like you're actually going backward. But those moments of stepping back are often exactly what you need to find a new and better path forward. This slide just offers such a powerful shift in perspective. In the moment, all we see is the dip, right? The failure. We feel like we're losing ground. But if we could just zoom out, we'd see that small step back is just one tiny part of a much larger upward journey. A great example is the pitcher R.A. Dickey. He had to spend years in the minor leagues, a huge step back, just to master the knuckleball and save his career. But that detour is what ultimately led him to win a Cy Young Award. Now, before we get to our final key lessons, let's talk for a second about the mind behind all these powerful ideas. Just who is Adam Grant? Adam Grant isn't just a fantastic storyteller, he's a really rigorous social scientist. As an organizational psychologist at Wharton, one of the best business schools in the world, he starts with hard data, experiments, huge studies, and then he finds these compelling stories to make that research easy to understand and remember. That evidence-based approach is why his insights are so credible and so impactful. All right, now that we know the solid science Grant brings to his work, let's distill everything down. Here are the key lessons from Hidden Potential. Think of this as your personal toolkit for growth. So here's what it all comes down to. 1. Focus on building your character, not just banking on talent. 2. Actively seek out discomfort. That feeling means your comfort zone is expanding. 3. Become a sponge by learning how to filter advice from credible, caring coaches. 4. Let go of perfectionism so you can actually make progress. And finally, when you get stuck, don't be afraid to take a step back to move forward. So why not start by picking just one area where you can embrace a little more discomfort today? Thanks so much for watching. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Summaropedia for more. We'll see you in the next one.